Gas prices here in Los Angeles have been rising, causing residents to feel the pinch at the pump. With prices themselves reaching a high of nearly $7 a gallon, no wonder why people are looking for ways to save money at the pump and reduce their fuel expenses. Now in this video, we'll be going over 5 effective ways to save money at the pump and keep more money in your wallet. The first effective way that we'll be going over to actually combat the rise in gas prices is to optimize your driving habits. This is actually one of the most effective ways or significant ways to increase your gas mileage. Some tips that I recommend is to actually drive smoothly, so avoid hard accelerations and hard brakings. Instead, accelerate gradually and coast to a stop when possible. And the second tip is actually to coast, or essentially maintain a steady speed when driving on the freeway. Instead of accelerating really hard to get to your steady speed, coast or turn on cruise control. And the last tip is actually to reduce idle time. So instead of just sitting on the driveway or sitting in the parking lot with your car on, turn it off and then turn it back on when you are ready to leave. Leaving the car on for extended periods of time may eat up more gas than you'd expect it to do. The second effective way to combat the rise in gas prices is actually to keep your vehicle well maintained. This is actually essential for fuel efficiency. The first tip is to regularly check your tire pressure. If you didn't know, underinflated tires actually decrease your gas mileage. So highly recommend you actually check what your actual PSI is for your tires and keep them well inflated. The next tip is to change your air filter. A dirty air filter can actually decrease your engine's efficiency, so replace it as your owner manual states. The last tip is to stick to your manufacturer's recommended maintenance schedule. This includes your tune-ups and your oil changes. The third effective way is to actually plan your trips wisely. The goal at the end of the day is to actually reduce the number of unnecessary trips and plan your outings efficiently. Some tips would be combining errands, so essentially grouping multiple errands in a single day or into one trip to plan your outing efficiently. Second one is to actually carpool or rideshare. Considering Uber or Lyft could be a great way to actually share the cost of fuel and the prices when going out. Lastly, using public transportation. Sometimes if you live in a big city, going and utilizing public transportation could be an easier and cheaper option than taking your car out. Fourth way is to actually choose fuel efficient routes. If you have Google Maps or Waze, there's actually a setting for you to actually have the maps optimize your traveling by using the most fuel efficient route out there for you. One tip may be to actually avoid shorter routes, as the shorter routes could have a lot of stop and go traffic. If you find a route that's maybe a little longer, but you're able to go at a higher speed and actually coast, it actually may be more gas efficient that way. And the last effective way that we'll be going over is actually to consider alternative transportation. As I mentioned before, carpool services such as taxis, Ubers, and Lyft can be a great way to cut the cost of gas, as well as cycling and scootering. And lastly, the last tip, if your work allows it, remote work can be a great way to cut the cost of fuel, as we've seen during the pandemic. At the end of the day, we don't know where gas prices are going to go. They're going to be fluctuating up or fluctuating down, but by effectively utilizing these 5 ways to combat the rise of gas prices, I hope that you can save more money and keep more money in your wallet.